So this e-commerce business was stuck around $50,000 per month in sales from their Google Ads account. In this video, I'm going to show you the strategy and tactics that we implemented that resulted in over $100,000 in sales just last month. And we only spent $2,000 more than what they previously were spending to make those results happen. Okay, the proof, right? So here's this company, not seasonal. They sell like hardware parts. January, 49,006x. February, 57,006x. So that'd be like 600% ROAS. March, 50,000 at a 560% ROAS. Then if we fast forward to May, we blow up 91,900% ROAS. I already did a video actually on this specific account. We implemented something called the feeder strategy by a guy named Moran. I'll have his information below. He's a bit of this Google Ads wizard character. Anyways, he came up with this feeder strategy idea. We implemented it and it absolutely helped skyrocket sales for us. I'm going to get into the nitty gritty of what all of that means, so stay tuned, but I just want to show you the results right now. Then we still had success, right? From June and July, we were still up compared to our averages. So we were at almost $80,000 in sales in July at an 8X. June was around 65 at an 8X. So way better than doing 50 to 60K, but still we kind of wanted to see how can we take this to the next level. And in August, we made some changes. August now, 120,000 in sales at a 1,000% return on ad spend. So that is a double of sales compared to where they were at the beginning of this year. And again, this is not seasonal. I'll go through November and December. Like I'll show you, this is even holiday increases. So they had a bit of an uptick, I guess, but I don't know why people would be buying hardware parts for anyone for Christmas. So we don't really see much of a huge increase here. They were still doing about 57 and 60K, a little higher return for them at 700% ROAS. Beside from that, this company was plateaued. And we have done hundreds of audits for e-commerce companies this year, and we have found many of them are plateaued. So I'm going to share what we're seeing with these companies and audits and companies like this, and then the strategy, this feeder strategy that we've been implementing that's been really helping take sales off. So if we go back to January and February, or it doesn't really matter, you'll notice 90% of our ad spend was going to Performance Max. So they spent $8,000 total and $7,400 went to PMAX. And again, they did 50K at a 6X or 7X. So not terrible, but they were just plateaued. Then in February, they spent about $9,000, $8,500 went to Performance Max. And again, they did, a 646% ROAS. So still pretty good results, but plateaued. They're not really moving the needle. What they were running, again, 90% Performance Max. They had a PMAX campaign for their top brand. I've changed the naming conventions here because I do have to keep this confidential, but this is called Top Brand. So think about if you sell, sports equipment, this would be Nike, okay? And Nike's like crushing it for you. So this is Nike. And then your others, so the Adidas and Puma and, other brands get thrown into this others. That is how they were operating. One brand that was one PMAX for their main brand that just absolutely does most of the volume and sales for them, or at least has the highest performance, and then a PMAX campaign that they lumped all the other brands in for. And again, most of it's the same stuff. It's like handles and knobs for kitchen cabinets and things like that. Same with like bathroom cabinets, all of that. So hardware parts, but very specific to like handles and knobs and things like that. One brand though, and they sell lots of different brands, one brand for whatever reason just does extremely well, and that's where most of the sales come from. However, they ran into an issue. They would increase budget on their PMAX campaign and see ROAS dip. Then they're like, well, how do we scale this, right? Because we're left with two things, budget or bids. And like, we want to scale, but we can't. Every time we give it more money, it just drops, ROAS drops, and we actually don't even increase sales. So what did we do? We came in and applied in May the feeder strategy. And what's the feeder strategy? Well, I'll show you what May looked like. In May, you'll notice spend was $10,000 for them, but $3,000 went to a shopping campaign now. So PMAX still spent $6,700, but remember, January and February, I just showed you, they were spending almost nothing on anything but Performance Max. Now we started introducing more ad spend into the shopping campaign. So what were we doing there? Basically, if we hopped in here, it was literally all their brands. We actually started with just all their brands. And again, a lot of this will be blurred, unfortunately, but this top one was basically their main brand. And this is where you see pretty much all the sales coming from. But we just built a shopping campaign. We put all their brands in there and we set a target ROAS that was lower than Performance Max. So they were already running PMAX and their PMAX campaign was at a 500% return on ad spend. So here, TROAS 500%. We then build this standard shopping campaign and we put all the brands in it and we set it to a 400% ROAS. Now, why do that, right? Because if you have the same product and it lives in a shopping campaign and it lives in a PMAX campaign, I'll use an example, this tumbler, okay? If this tumbler I sell lives in a PMAX campaign and a shopping campaign, how does Google know where to show this product ad for this tumbler in what campaign? Well, it yields to ad rank. Well, how do you have this a higher ad rank if it's the same product ad? That would be then based off of what has the highest bid. So in the shopping campaign, I'm telling Google, hey, we only need a 400% ROAS. In PMAX, I'm saying I need 500, right? So Google's going to yield to a first click usually of this product ad to my standard shopping campaign because I'm bidding more aggressively there. Now, most customers, so I want you to take yourself out of just Google stuff and just think like a consumer. Most consumers will click an ad if they've never heard of you, and even if they want that product, they might not buy today, right? It usually takes a few days or multiple touch points for someone to actually convert. So what's the whole idea behind the feeder strategy? We can be more aggressive on shopping clicks for first click, new customers. These are people who have never been to our website before. And the ones that do not purchase but show intent to purchase based off of the fact they were on there for 2 minutes, looked at maybe the cart or looked at other products that Google knows are prone to convert. And then they come back later and they start searching again, or maybe they get a remarketing ad. Then PMAX scoops them up. And in this PMAX campaign, all we're running is literally a feed-only campaign with that top brand. So if I go in here, and again, a lot of this will be blurred in regards to the name of it. This is the top brand. We did segment it kind of by like product types of this brand. Again, levers, knobs, I can only show you that. They're not, they don't sell a whole lot more than that. So it's not a very sophisticated type of a complex brand that sells lots of different unique things. It all fits in the same category. So that's it. This PMAX campaign, which by the way was running in February, we just then moved a lot of clicks over to it through that standard shopping setup. So let me show you what happened. Okay, so this is in the report editor. What we were able to do because of the feeder strategy is push more on shopping clicks, right? So this blue line is our top brand. Again, think of this as like Nike in that sports retail example if you had all the other brands. So this is our top brand. In May, you'll notice we blasted clicks to it. And that's just naturally happened when we first set it up. Remember, we threw all the brands in that one shopping campaign. But we went from like 2,000 clicks to 3,000, almost 4,000. So we like doubled clicks on that brand. Then, and this would be shopping and Performance Max both, right? Then you can tell like June and July, no wonder we kind of saw a dip. That brand, for whatever reason, wasn't getting as many clicks still. And then we were able to shoot it back up in August due to a restructure that we did, right? So if you were just running PMAX, how would you get more clicks on that brand without basically just giving it more budget? You can't. And with this feeder strategy, you're able to sort of tap into that and have control back of really pushing for more new customer acquisition, especially at like a top brand or a top product type strategy. So that is what we did, right? And that took off for us. But you'll notice we had a bit of a decrease, or not. Again, it was better than historical averages, but then we had this decrease back down from 90 to like 70s in June and July. And we wanted to really hit over 100K like we did in August. So what did we do in August? August, we made a change. We said, hey, that specific brand, that top brand, we have to feed more data there. We got to get more clicks on it. So forget all the other brands. Now, we couldn't pause all of that out, but we wanted to restructure. And we couldn't pause it all out because the client just wasn't willing to do that. Otherwise, I would have done that. So the restructure that we did, this shopping campaign, which contained all the brands before August, we only are running the top brand now. So everything else got excluded. You'll see they did have some clicks, but if I go like last 14 days, 0 across the board. This top brand's the only thing that's running in here. So this feeder shopping campaign has now all of the budgets and clicks to it. And then we're still running the PMAX feeder campaign. You'll notice that did not dramatically increase. We spent $3K on that. And then in July, we spent, $3K basically. And actually, let's go back to May on that same PMAX campaign, $5K. So it's not like spend went more there. We actually kind of kept it the same. And again, July, we did total sales at 79,000. So we went from 79 to 120,000 in August, and I spent the same amount on that Performance Max campaign. So it wasn't the Performance Max campaign. It was the feeder strategy that we set up. So we were already running a Performance Max campaign for the other brands. And again, we're literally just running a feed-only campaign in here. Or a feed-only asset group. This is the everything all else products, and we just excluded the top brand. That's it, because that top brand is running in its own feeder shopping and its own Performance Max campaign, right? Then we created another standard shopping campaign, and this contains all of the other brands. So we've excluded so this excluded here would be our top brand. It did have some clicks for like a day before we actually fixed and excluded. That is the top brand. We've excluded it from here. So this is all the other brands lumped into this campaign. And then we have that in we call it others. So this is the other brands. And then we have that PMAX others campaign as well. Small budgets, $25 a day on it right now. If this client had more money to spend, we absolutely, just last month, I'm seeing fairly good results from these other brands where I know we could actually grow these brands now too. The problem is they're limited by budget now too from this feeder campaign structure that we built for their top brand, that they could spend even more money there. Now, they have to stair step their spend up. This client doesn't have infinite cash flow right now. And with the growth of sales, that means they have to order more product. They have to get help in the shipping department. So they're small business, and with growth comes more expenses in order to keep up with that growth. So they're just at that stage. Otherwise, I think this company could absolutely start spending 15, 20K plus over the next few months if we really were to pour the gasoline on it. They're just not there yet. So it's like a stair-step approach. So again, August, we did increase by 2K in spend. We spent 12 versus the 10 that they were. And that was able to ramp up our sales. Now, that is due to the fact that we've 90% spent our money on just that top brand. But here we ran a feeder structure that is now 2 feeder structures. So we have a feeder structure for our top brand and a feeder structure for the other brands. And I think this structure right now, we can continue to grow with it. Like I said, probably up until 15, 20K plus in ad spend before we may have to reevaluate some things, because they probably will start to see some diminishing returns at that point. Right now, this company is probably primed to continue to get 100K plus in sales with the structure that we built. Okay, so what can you take from all of this, right? If you're an e-commerce company and you're plateaued or you're seeing a decrease in new customer acquisition, and you're like, hey, you're right. Every time we try to spend more on PMAX, we just get diminishing returns now. Then you need to think outside of the box. And this feeder strategy structure has been working wonderfully for many of our clients. And again, all you're doing is pushing back further into standard shopping and in many cases, standard search as well. But standard shopping is going to be your real key driver here. And you just get more aggressive there. Turn Performance Max more into this remarketing campaign. I know it's not built for that. It's a bit hacky and it won't 100% be remarketing. But I just showed you insane results. And this is not the only client that we're having success with like this. It works in that way for many clients. Get back some control of new customer acquisition by really driving more aggressive on your standard shopping and standard search. Let PMAX then kind of do its thing by rabbit holing on warm audience targets that you're driving from those standard shopping and standard search campaigns, just like we did for this company. Then, if you find yourself in a situation like they are, where you're limited by budget because it's working now, sales are up, and you're like, how do we get more? Then start analyzing what brands or product types are really driving those results for us. And if you have to, move to a multi-feeder strategy like we did for this company and ended up doubling sales for them compared to where they were at the beginning of this year. So all I'm telling you is if you're stuck with Performance Max, consider a strategy like this. And again, if you want a free audit from my team where you're like, I'm a little nervous about applying something like this, can you take a look at our account to see if we're a fit? Then go get an audit. It's free, again, if you qualify from my company, and we will absolutely dive in and say whether or not we think this strategy would work for you. So again, the free audit will be in the description below. Absolutely go get that if you feel like this is something that you would like to test or you're a little nervous about maybe rocking the boat and testing something like this. Now, if you're under 10K per month in spend and PMAX is working for you and every time you start giving it some more budget, it's growing with you, keep doing that. I am not saying this is a universal approach to everyone. All I'm saying is if you're stuck or plateaued, which I know many e-commerce companies are with their Google Ads accounts today, then this strategy right now is absolutely printing money. Go test it.